I wrote more detailed notes to make sure that I don't miss nothing, because when I tell y'all, that brain is active, okay? Hi, welcome guys, welcome girls, and every human in between. This is the Bear With Me podcast. I'm your host, Wit. Now, season 3, episode 8. Yeah, 8. I was talking about being uncomfortable and moving and just feeling that urge. And that energy, I've still been moving in that wave because I'm so excited for a lot of the things that I have in store for my YouTube channel. By the way, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and go. Bear with me. YouTube.com at bear with me. And go ahead and subscribe. However, if you're listening to this, make sure that you have followed this podcast and you shared it with some friends and you've commented and you've rated it and you've given it 5 stars or whatever your heart's desire. So thank you for your support. If you're new here, welcome. How y'all doing? I'm so glad you're here. In that episode 8, I spoke about just being moved and being in an energy or a vibration that was like, we've got to do something different. We got to put pedal to the metal, belt to ass, and we got to make this thing. And of course, there's still been continuous like, look, you don't like this, so what we gonna do with that to get where we want to go? But what I'm saying, why I'm saying this is because by the time you hear this episode, it may or may not be Tuesday when it actually publishes. And that's because Monday, or the day before I released this, I was kind of tooling, reviewing over mentally, and also when I was editing, and I was just like, I don't like this. This ain't the work that I want to put out. And I was like, we're going to re-record again. And while I hated it, it felt very much good to be like, I think oh my gosh, it just dawned on me. It definitely went out on the audio platforms. I have to go back and delete, because I scheduled it for YouTube and I deleted it on YouTube, but I did not delete it on. Okay. Well, once I finish recording, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna delete that and then I'm gonna republish. Oh my goodness, I forgot about that one. Oops. I've gone all day. All right, stay focused. I'm so sorry. Bear with me. Ooh, these are like. I'm very much still in the growing pains of my podcast. And while I be over it sometimes, it's also just, it's a friendly reminder for me to be gentle with myself and just really like see where I have to go to do what I have to do. So, yeah. All right, let's get into it. This episode, AI, and typically it stands for artificial intelligence. For me, it stands for almost intelligent. And we're going to get into it. I wrote more detailed notes to make sure that I don't miss nothing, because when I tell y'all once I stopped recording and then I was starting my editing and everything just poured back into me. It's like I get in front of this camera and I get this mic on and I get brain fart and I be like, bro, this is not it at all. So when I tell you I pretty much wrote it out, I could low-key read it all, but I'm like, that I need flow. So I got my key talking points and they flow. Take 2. Okay. I wrote a little intro for myself. Where'd my little intro go? There you go. Bear with me. We gonna get started. Initially, AI seemed to be a cool thing, like using the chats and such, that form of AI. Because back in the day, if we really remember, anybody remember Ask Jeeves? If you remember Ask Jeeves and you're listening or watching on YouTube, go ahead and drop a question mark in the chat. Like, I would love for you all to put a question mark in the chat. That let me know you've been watching for at least 5 minutes and I done kept you. Thank you so much. But if you remember Ask Jeeves, it was a search engine where you would type in whatever your question was and it would give you all of these resources to formulate whatever it is you're needing to discover. I remember researching science projects on Ask Jeeves. I remember researching, it was something else in 8th grade that I had to use Ask Jeeves for. I was like, oh, I'm telling my age, but what's up? Then Google came out. Ask it a question. Again, it will give you all of these resources. And so the top hits, or just like where you could, the more reliable sources for the most part ish, would be at the top. And then as you went down, so for to the page and the page and the page and the page, then you would discover. Then Google leveled it up and they said, Google Scholar, we gonna give you publications and articles and things of that nature that's been by X amount of people and stuff. So yeah, that's been like the evolution a little bit of AI. But then AI started happening. iRoombas, or the little vacuum robots. And now we're here in 2026, and GPS is also a form of AI if we really being real, but whatever. And then we have, where we at? ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, Claude, and there's probably a whole lot more, but like those are the big name ones. Oh, and yeah, I said Gemini. Okay. So okay. What we know now, or what we're learning, is that from Ask Jeeves all the way up to now, the information that we are consuming via AI is less accurate and less credible. Here's why. AI is typically, or not even typically, it is a summary of resources, and it's perception / understanding of what that information is. There have been so many people and so many videos that have debunked AI's accuracy, or just like shown how inaccurate it is. It's low-key disgusting, and it's like, you don't really know what you're talking to, and you don't know where it's getting its information from. Here's some examples. If you want to play around with it, go ahead and play around with it. I ain't play around with it. I definitely went on social media and saw these videos myself, because I'm not about to. I don't even have Siri on my phone, even though she still be listening. How do I have it turned off? But sometimes it'll pop up. It shouldn't even pop up. Or you'll just be having a conversation over the phone, and then next thing you know, you go to social media and you got that information that you was just talking about presented to you. They watching and they listening at all times. That's surveillance. We got a separate section for that. Stay focused. If you go and ask whatever your AI platform is, ask it to give you a number less than 1,000 with the letter A in its standard form. So if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 1,000, well, all the way up to 999, none of those words or none of those numbers in written word form have the letter A in it. I'll give you some processing, because processing matters. Even if you just count 1 through 10, don't none of them. And then if you count 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, none of them have the vowel A, the letter A in its written form. So when you ask your search engine, or not your search engine, when you ask your AI platform, it will say 901. And they'll be like, you can see the A right in the middle. If you really know anything about counting, you know that you use and when you're dealing with decimals. We asked it to give us whole numbers. So 101, 102, 103, so forth and so on. You are not supposed to say and. Why and how we've been saying and, don't know. And I would love it if we stopped doing it, but I myself am guilty of it too. But whatever. But AI should know it. AI also can't really count. I saw another video. Dude said, please count from 1 to 100 and don't stop counting. And once it got to 10, it was like, I'll keep going, but I just wanted to check in with you. And it was like, I'm still here. Keep counting. So AI can't really do numbers. And I wonder if that got anything to do with its coding and its one zeros. You know, back in the day when computers only function on ones and zeros, but whatever. I'm going too deep. If you notice, like if you ask it to give you a number of a number less than 1,000 that has the letter A in it, it gives you the wrong answer, by of course, and then you'll be like, no, that's not correct. It'll say, oh, I'm sorry, let me check my work. Or it'll be like, actually, the answer is, and then it'll be like, you'll see that there's an A right in the middle. It'll just come up with whatever mess. Sounds like it's set up to lie to you. Like, it doesn't. It can't. It's not true. So AI is very inaccurate. Another example, but wait, there's more. If AI does not know an answer, it will make up one. To me, that's an issue, because I need you to be smart enough to tell me, oh, I don't know. But it can't reveal bigger message. I won't say it can't reveal. It can't it is not programmed to disclose that it has faults, because if in disclosing that it has faults, makes it unreliable. If it's unreliable, then it loses the money that it is now people are paying into. Okay, so slow down. See, this is why I like to be in flow. Because that brain is active, okay? And when I be writing in advance, it don't always translate. But when I'm in flow, oh, we go. Okay. Let me give you that other example how I be wrong. If AI does not know an answer, it will make one up. Example, Chicago Sun-Times. They put out their 2025 or 2026, I can't remember. Yeah, 2026 or I don't know when somebody discovered it, but whatever. 2025 or 2026 summer reading list. I imagine that was this year, so we're going to say it's 2026. I'm going to go back and check my sources, and then I'm going to come in the comments for it. But it created an article for its 2026 summer reading list, and it mentioned an author and a book title that the author never wrote. The author then definitely went to the comments and was like, hey, this is not true. What happened? The person who came up with the article used AI, and AI created some mess, and then that author reported it. Needless to say what happened to that person. But that just goes to show just how much it's a rabbit hole, and it's a comfort. Like I won't even say I get it, because I can't truly, anything I'm consuming now, I'm low-key wondering, is it real? Is it meant to provoke a response out of me to get me to do this, to do that? Because I'm really not trying to be nobody's puppet in this play. I'm really not trying to be nobody's puppet. So you got to keep take your time. You got to keep your head on a swivel. You feel me? Okay. So from it being inaccurate, that leads me to my next point of its quick access, I think. So yeah. So because it became, and that was another thing, I don't think I said it explicitly. When you ask it a question, you get a direct answer. That direct answer tend to just be inaccurate. Not I won't say 10, but sometimes is inaccurate. But it's that direct feed, because it takes out a lot of the, I need to check this source. I need to check that source. I need to check that source. It takes a lot of that guesswork out and gives you the meat and the potatoes, if you will, even though, it's the quality of the meat and the potato going to be a little questionable. But it takes a lot of that out. And we have now enjoyed that quick access or that quick response that it's now costing us. People don't want to people think that they're getting smarter, but they're not really getting smarter. We as a human race, I was listening to this child psychologist, and see, because I'm in flow, and I forgot what he said, but he was basically talking about kids are at a disadvantage. And every generation, we got stronger and stronger because of our different advances. But now our advances are now stifling us or limiting us. But I digress. So I'm I'm going to give you a daily life example of one form that we have used so frequently that now we stuck. GPS. Now, I got a couple friends that use GPS all the time. I love you. I love you. However, at the at the scientific level for your brain, if you cannot navigate where you at from here to there, from there to here, or if you're constantly relying on an external source, your brain loses those synapses to be able to retrace your steps or keep you not from getting lost, keep you from not getting lost. And GPS is that. Like, I push myself to be like, no, I know how to get there. I can get there. Like, let's try, because when all of this goes, I'm not gonna be lost. I'm not. Let me tell you, shout out to my dad for this story. When I was in elementary school, grammar school for those of us in Chicago, when he would pick me up from school, he would be like, all right, wait, let's take us home. And I'm like, okay. And so he would drive us home, but he would be like, okay, what do we do now? 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 And he would not move. Like, if he know we supposed to turn, but if I'm not really sure, we gonna sit there for a little bit. Shorty knew how to get home. When I tell you kids don't know their address, don't know the main road right off of their street address. I don't even know if they really know landmarks of what's near their home. Like, to not know where you live and to not know how to get there is crazy. Crazy. Because one, when they get in the car, they looking down. If you don't look around, two, and if you when they get in the car, they just, I don't know that they don't see the need to know where they're going. But no, you need to be able to know. And so, like, that level of GPS, or just like spatial awareness, and that I hate what I'm about to say, but the whole men do better with directions than men. I know some men that can be just as confused from the time they got there in the daylight, and then by the time when they leave in the place and it's dark, and now they don't know where they at. So that we're not finna have that be a gender war, because it's across both genders as far as like your ability to navigate. Period. Point blank. So there. And so then what kind of psychologist? I think he was a child psychologist. They wrote an article. Headline: Adults lose skills to AI. Children never build them. Let it marinate. Yeah. Adults lose the skills that we have worked hard to attain. Like, when you see social media talking about we used to have to write papers by hand. First draft, second draft, third draft, final draft. All of these things. We used to know how to, we had to get it through the mud to be where we at. And now all of those skills are just slowly regressing. Ooh. See, I didn't really want to talk about my job, but I'm going to talk about my job. I said, I say, how many, we was doing Punnett squares. I say, how many of these squares have a dominant trait? The kids can identify that it was 3 out of the 4. So they's like, 3 of them. I said, what percent is that? They looking at me. They looking at me. I can't make this up. I can't make it up. I say, what's 3/4? One kid said 50. Whoo! Y'all remember off Precious, when Monique was like, no, when she was crying? that was me internally. What? Here is what I think the reason is. And I want to give a shout out to my friend who gave this thought, because they are the person who helped me make that connection why kids struggle. So you know me, I'm not gonna just have you out here lost, and I'm not just gonna just give you an answer. I'm gonna make that brain think. I said, all right, guys, 4 quarters make a whole. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm pointing to the 4 quarters. I say 4 quarters make a whole. So if 3 of these quarters, how much is that? I say, what's 25 plus 25? Because now I done already told you quarter. Each one is a quarter. So you low-key just got to go 25, 50, 75, 100. That didn't catch. All they knew was 3/4. They didn't know what 3/4 converted to. I said, okay, guys, so each one of these represent a quarter. 25 plus 25. When I tell you, they're like, you could see their brains computing like on the inside. Yeah. Okay, cool. Then we eventually got to 50. I say, okay, what's 25 plus 50? Yeah, more delays, ladies and gentlemen. More delays. One baby, bless her whole soul. 25 plus 50 on the paper, writing on the scratch. I don't care. Get it how you need it, because in this moment, I need you to know this. So 3/4 is 75% or 0.75, so 75%. So I'm sharing this story with my homeboy, and he shares a reason that he thinks that this is a thing because counting coins don't exist no more. I don't know if y'all remember. I'm finna tell my age a little bit more. When my grandma used to go to the dollar store, they had a nice little toy section. And I don't know what it was about us as kids, but we want that money set. I don't know. We wanted that money set. Give me the $1 bills, $5 bills, 10s, 20s, and give me these fake quarters, nickels, dimes, and pennies. And we playing store when we get to the crib. Like, what's up? Y'all rude. Yeah. We playing store. Like, we're counting coins. And because everything is digital, everything is on a card, kids is thrown off when it comes to having to count. You're telling, see, the days of 4 bags for $1 need to come back, okay? That $1.49, that $2.49 for that baby bag with 6 Flaming Hots in there and a whole bunch of air. Don't piss me off. Okay, I'm getting away. Let me get my book to bring me back in. But I got one more thing to say about that real quick. The access or just currency being plastic has diminished kids' math computation or their mental math computation. This teacher out in Dallas, she real viral on the internet, and she was like, kids need to know their multiplication in that 3rd and 4th grade. Let me tell you something. When my little cousin was approaching 3rd and 4th grade, I was on his back. I told my cousin, I was like, hey, how he doing on his multiplication? She was like, he doing good. We be perfect. Okay, now listen. Because I remember when I was in college, I spent my Christmas break teaching my younger cousin how to do long division, which ain't nothing but the practice of multiplication and subtraction at play. And all of those things you need. Oh my goodness. I just had to show like these kids. So yeah, okay, yeah, I'm off. I done went off a little sideways, but it's a podcast, and that's what you do when you really in flow. Anyway, thank God I got the rest of my notes though. So saw this video that was talking about the little handheld kiosk when they come to your table after you finish eating, and it presets your tip percents. It'll be like 18, 20, 22, and then it'll tell you what that dollar amount is. Ladies and gentlemen, people have had cases where it has not quoted them the proper percent of their total. Once I saw a couple of them, I said, and now on, I'll be counting my percent. So then, with the kids again, I don't know why we started talking about percents, But I said something about what's 10% of? What's 10% of $25? They looking at me and they was like, "Ooh, I can't remember something." One kid said $1. On my whole soul, one kid said $1. 10% of $25 is $1. I said, let me put y'all on a trick. Move that decimal place over one time. One time. And what will you get? And then they were looking, and I was like, so then I had to draw an arrow where I moved it, and then I had to rewrite it because we can't, God forbid, we move it, and then now we got to compute that it's now, like, I don't know. But anyway, I said $2.50 is 10% of $25. I said, because I'm making the connection, like, when you go somewhere and you thinking you got to sell, you don't even know how much money, if something is 40% off, you don't really know how much money is actually off because you don't have that mental skill. I'll never forget, I was at Randall's, and it's a grocery store, and I needed some percent off. And it wasn't ringing up in their system, but I had taken a picture and I had showed them what the tag said. Baby girl needed to take out her phone to calculate what the percent was to take it off. And I'm gonna let you do your job because I ain't got nothing to do, and I want you to realize or see, like, dang, I should be able to do this. Or be like, hey, is there a button that I could have done this and made my job easier or something, like after you finish helping me? I don't know, but something better could have been done for that person. Anyway, so then I leveled it up. Now that we know what 10% is of $25, I said, so what if I ask for 20%? I can't remember what they initially said, but then I just had to tell them, if we take off 10%, but I need 20%, you would just multiply the total of 10% by 2, and then you have it. Oh, yes. But now you got me wondering, how you take your algebra test and pass when you only here for biology? We're not going to go there. Take a sip. Stay focused. Back to AI. Again, adults lose skills to AI. Children never built them. Which leads me to my next, ed tech. Okay? Ed tech was already a thing prior to COVID. It was slowly building. COVID busted wide open. Tell them to get back, but okay, it's my bad. This boom came because of COVID. Not everybody one-to-one. Now we need all these softwares and all these platforms to help build these learners, all that. Most ed tech programs are trash. Teachers will tell you. And yeah, students ain't really showing no growth. Even when they're customized, it's giving them very surface level. It's not building rigor. So kids ain't truly really growing. They just finding out more ways to practice. And also, let me tell you that these ed tech softwares mimic game style technology, instant gratification. So it's not causing them to think critically or go deeper into a problem. Everything is very much like at the surface level. And that increases, that in turn impacts critical thinking. Because if I'm only staying surface level, I'm not going deep enough to really do what I need to do. And the negative side of ed tech companies is that you get fraud companies. A superintendent of, I can't remember what state, but a superintendent of some district in a state, he signed a contract with a friend of his who was a part of an ed tech company, and the ed tech company ended up being trash and ended up being rather fake, and they had to discontinue it after a year. But what you're also hearing in this story is that people are wasting state dollars on companies that's not turning over a profit. Meanwhile, students are still not performing well. Another example in the state of Texas. So for my Texas listeners with children, listen, figure something out, okay? Somehow, it makes sense for the state to own majority testing. So let me just kind of go back. In the state of Texas, you had tax, TAKS, TAAK, tax test, and then you had another test, you had all these standardized testing since whenever, and now since I can't remember when, it's been the STAR test. And you take that test at that grade level at the end of the year to see where you are, to see if you are proficient to pass and all that. Schools, districts started saying like, okay, well, we want to get them ready for these state tests, so we're going to do what we call benchmarks. Texas is now deciding, hey, we don't want to do all the testing and kids are being tested too much, so we'll take over the benchmark testing and we'll do a beginning of the year, a middle of the year, and the end of the year test. What? It was already a fool when the districts was getting them ready for the state test before the test. That was already one fool. Now the states say, well, we just gonna take care of all the testing and you don't gotta worry about it. If you think that these districts not still finna prep these kids for these tests, you're stupid. You're stupid, just like AI. You're almost intelligent because we know that performance is based on funding. I need these kids to perform in order to get this money, then yeah. So what we really talking about? Like, just stupid. Just stupid. And I'm like, am I the only person that makes sense in the world? And I know I'm not. I know I'm not the smartest in the world either. But I just be like, it can't be this many dumb people making some of these decisions. And how do I maneuver my way to get to their level to make smarter choices and decisions with the money that they're getting paid to make stupid decisions? All right, back to it. Okay, ed tech. Now, because we talking about education, I'm gonna call out these teachers. How you doing? The amount of teachers that celebrate using AI, and I know I got a couple listeners. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about some teachers I didn't see on the internet. Like really, really, because I don't want you to be no hit dog and you get upset at me. But this is just very much the truth. Teachers ain't really teaching no more. One, kids keep getting passed along, so to teach whatever your curriculum. Okay, let's. I'm doing too much right now because this is definitely my education series that I'm supposed to be doing in a couple weeks, maybe in the next month. So I'm gonna just shut it down. We're done with EdTech. So if and then I'll go right back to what I'm about to say. Make sure you filling in the gaps where your schools is not. Please make sure your kid know how to count money. Please make sure your kid know their times tables. Please make sure your kid know how to get home. All right. Back to AI. Surveillance. I'm gonna tell you, when I tell y'all, when iPhones went to Face ID, I was not a fan. It took me a good minute to get Face ID on whichever phone I had at the time once it was popular. And it was once they took my home button away. So if y'all remember, whatever phone took the home button away, that's when I still was delayed in setting up my Face ID. I was like, okay, all I gotta do is swipe and then I can get my code, type in my code, and then I'm gonna be doing it. So that you know, every time you unlock your phone, it take a picture of you. Like, that's how it's working. So it's getting all of you all the time. And think about how many times you lock your phone, put it in your pocket. Then once you're doing what you're doing, you open that phone. And we love it. It's so easy. It's all surveillance. Because where all of these pretty pictures of my face is going? Anyway. Also, stop doing these trends. These trends is set up by AI companies to get more data to make things more, how do I want to say? They ain't using it for good. And I'm finna get into why they not using it for good. The trend, the 10-year challenge. Yeah, I did it. I did it. Where you put a picture of you from 2016 and then a picture of you from 2026. I did that. I posted it. Won't do it again. Dang. Just a couple days ago, I did the you in June last year. Dang. Ooh. Ha. Here's why I think it's different. Here I go trying to what you call that? Trying to rectify, not rectify. I can't see my vocabulary limiting right now. Anyway, the ones where it be like it come out with an AI generated image and they be doing all of them. Those I've never done. It'd be like, oh, the one where it's like, look at you in 10 years from now, like when you old age. This is like maybe a couple years ago. I ain't never done that. I'm like, what do we need to, I'll know what I look like when I get there. And so all of that is creating data. It's getting data to make stuff up, to make fake stuff. Let me ask y'all if y'all seen these AI influencers. Mukbangs got real popular, right? Content creators love doing a mukbang. There's this one video where this girl, little black girl, in her room, she got braces on. She is doing a mukbang and she's eating chicken wings, chicken legs to be exact. Chicken legs or wings, whatever. She bite into it and no bone comes out. It's AI. And whatever little story she telling while she talking, it's AI. It's AI. And at face value, you don't really truly notice it until you start really looking at the picture like, shorty, where the bone go? That ain't, especially when you picked it up and I saw like the little bone at the end, like, where the bone go? Where's the bone? And so, and who face is this? Who faces this? Let's talk about, again, AI influencers. AI is starting to make videos where it uses black and brown kids who are showcasing a talent of a skill that they have. It could be crochet, it could be knitting, it could be painting, it could be a whole bunch of stuff. And it was like, yeah, everybody keep talking about I'm not good at XYZ. And so here's my work. Can you support me? And so everybody in the comments that look like us is like, where's the link for me to support? Nah, your work is beautiful. Keep working hard. And whole time, it's some shop somewhere overseas cranking out these materials, and it ain't this little boy making this work. And I say little boy because I seen 2 videos of and it was little boys knitting rug covers and a whole bunch of other stuff. And it was fake. We're living in a simulation. All right. Sorry, I yelled. Another one. Outside of surveillance, creativity is being, your vocabulary struggling. I can't wait to be done with this so I can read my book. I need more vocabulary. Creativity is also just being watered down, and people just aren't as creative as they used to be because everything is there. Oh God, let's talk about creativity. I am sick of AI generated graphics. They all look the same. The same bubbly-ish looking 3D print, the faces of the people. I hate it. One of my mentors started off as a graphic designer, then went into web page design, videography, photography, all that. And me and her were having a conversation and she was like, I hate this. I hate it so much. Because like the work is not even good. Like, yuck. Blech. If now in relation to AI songs, in relation to AI graphics and stuff like that and designs, they're now doing music, and some songs that you end up really liking are AI made. There is no real artist. So now you got potential big music industry companies using AI to create songs, and now you giving them streams, which is giving them money, and whole time ain't nobody finna see that but them. There's this song, I'm a phenomenal black woman, and then some walk with grace, and it just got the black community tickled because so many people are using that song and like making a little parody of it, but then it's also like it's catchy, but it's also AI, so it's getting that exposure and that traction, and it's crazy, and it's just like, who voices this? Who word like what? And then I also look at it from the aspect like you low key playing in black people's face. I'm a phenomenal black woman. Some walk with grace. And oh, that's another thing. None of it rhymes. Like what? If it's one thing black don't know how to do is rhyme. Okay, but it's just it's disgusting. All right. Um, and then lastly, oh, I want to go back to this vacuums. I remember when people first started getting them. I don't have one because it gets the measurements of your space. Because I always wonder, how does it know not to go here, not to go there? How does it not fall down the stairs? How does it do any of this, that, and the third? It gets those measurements. And where does these measurements sit? On what database where? So now you know what the dimensions of my house look like. And there were reports that people who work for Amazon and people who had Alexas, they listen in on their conversation. So it ain't nothing for you to get my IP address to where my internet is for this robot to function, to get the dimensions and the layout of my house, and you can come up in here and rob me. Pass. No, thank you. Do not accept. Do not recommend. So I personally, I'm not a fan. Now, I know some people probably watching this and be like, wait, you such a conspiracy theorist. You be thinking off the deep end, baby, because if you think that they ain't thought about it before me, oh, okay. Our planet is the last part, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. Our planet. Data centers is popping up left and right and right and left. And these data centers, they need energy and they need resources. They release toxins. Toxins. What? Pollutants. Girl, the words say pollutants. What you talking about? Toxins. They release pollutants. They require or deplete water supplies to cool down their servers to prevent overheating. Air and noise pollution. And just a little fun fact, to summarize an email consumes 5 more times the electricity than writing an email. So that just lets you know. I don't know, I've noticed on Google it'll be like, summarize this email. Shorty, I can read. It ain't nothing but 3 messages between me and another person. So it's me, them, me. I can read, and I know what I wrote. So all I have to do is read them. What are we like? It's creating it's creating another level of learned helplessness, because it's just like you can't do, so you outsource, and this outsource ain't even the best source. Baby, that brain need the brain. We didn't get this far as a species not being able to. So why stop now? Like, no, 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 no. So let me talk about this real quick. This our planet. We only get one planet. And okay. They keep trying and playing out in space, because when all of this do go to skit, and some people able to, and there is life somewhere else for us to go, only the richest of the richest is going to be the ones that's going to be able to go. Why you think they playing in space so much? But whatever, because they know that they running this into the ground. Now I want to go to space. I really do. Like, it's on my bucket list to go to space. What kind of bucket list is that with? Don't worry about it. But I definitely want to go to space. I want to look at Earth from outside of Earth. So I can't wait for my next life form. But anyway, I know one thing, you better not mess with my electricity and cause me to have to pay more, because y'all ain't truly paying for the electricity that y'all consuming. Fun fact, a lot of policies, laws, and companies, they sign a lot of NDAs to not disclose what they are consuming and all of that and all of that. It's a way for them to cover themselves and keep pushing the narrative that what they're building and what they're doing is for the greater good, but it's not. I think it's in Oklahoma. They built this data center in some part of Oklahoma, and people within like a 5-10 mile radius, they don't have proper water flow because so much of their water source is being funneled to the data center. And then when they do get their water, it ain't clean. Then, fun fact, these data centers need clean water. Baby, if you don't use if you don't use some water and recycle it and pour it back in there, if you can't thrive off of recycled water, why you gonna make me as a human try to survive off of recycled water? Why we giving machines more value than we giving humans? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm finna go. I hope I gave y'all a lot to think about. And I'm not saying that AI is bad. Let me not be like, it's bad, it's terrible, and like I'm anti-AI. No, there are plenty of benefits to it. However, I would love it if all of those could just think about a time when you're about to use it and consider just flexing your brain a little bit more and maybe not using it as much, and just think about how you're contributing to the overall development and enhancement of it, because we all are contributing. We are the world. Yes. All right. If you enjoyed this episode, like, comment, follow, tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. Bear With Me podcast. I hope that next week I'm not super deep, but this is where we at. This is fun. I gotta go. Until next time.